to everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. I am so blessed by everyone pressing out. It's a little cooler this week, so that's a welcome relief for most. But we thank you again. I'll try to remind you at the end, on the next second Monday, we'll be in revival at Locust Grove one night, so this Bible study will go over there, so just kind of remember that. So the second Monday in August, we'll be at Locust Grove Revival. So this Bible study will be transferred to that church on that night. Getting back into our lesson, David's preparation for the temple, that's the section that we have gone through and are going through. We're continuing on with this as Solomon's inauguration. Remember that we're going to be doing two sections of scriptures. We're paralleling Chronicles along with Kings. So when you're reading through the Bible, Old Testament, you'll come through the book of Chronicles, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, 1st and 2nd Kings, and you'll see a lot of the same material. That doesn't mean you can skip them. Because I know some of y'all are like, oh, I can just skip over it. No, because it's a lot of the same material, but it has added material. We're going to show you that. We have two inaugurations of Solomon. So Solomon is put in the kingship, but we're going to see two sections of it. We're dealing with this one, but we're going to have to go back in a little time because this inauguration or putting Solomon into office came hastily. There was pressure from the outside. Solomon literally, by David's standard, was not supposed to be king as early as he became in the kingship, but there were some family issues. Some things I want you to remember as we get closer to that, those issues. David has been plagued with trouble in his family. And I told you way back when we were with Bathsheba and Nathan the prophet, a curse was put on David in a sense. He said, there's going to be trouble in your house forever. There has been trouble in David's house ever since Bathsheba. And we're going to see it over. It's the same stuff. It's the same attack. It's almost like a generational curse, but it's come on simply because David went against the will of the Lord. Always remember this, to much is given, much is required. And all of us have been given much, so never ever forget that. If someone could go ahead that doesn't have a whole bunch of ham in their mouth and cheese, read 1 Chronicles 29, 1 through 2, just to refresh our memories.
Brother King David said to all the assembly, my son Solomon, whom alone God has chosen, is young and inexperienced, and the work is great, because the temple is not for man, but for the Lord God. Now for the house of my God I have prepared with all my might, gold for things to be made of gold, silver for things of silver, bronze for things of bronze, iron for things of iron, wood for things of wood, onyx stones, stones to be set, glistening stones of various colors, all kinds of precious stones, and marble slabs in abundance.
This whole temple project is extremely important to David because now that we've been going through it, I think it's kind of a payback in a sense, if you could pay back God for his graciousness, his kindness. David just wants a place that God can be exalted. So he wants to give everything unto this. And we talked about, you know, we give our gifts of love, but it is wonderful to be able to sow into a ministry. Remember we talked about a lot of the predominantly Caucasian ministries, you know, some of their members, before they die, they put the church in their life insurance policy. You're like, where did they get all that money from? It's just that people cared about the church, cared about the fellowship, and they put money into it. The same respect here, David had been saving up to do this, saving up to build this magnificent temple, even though God didn't really want a temple. He had said that. He was fine dwelling in tents, cloud by day, fire by night, but he knew the heart of David. And sometimes God does allow things to come forth that are really not in his will, but he has a bigger plan that's going on. And I'm so glad now that even though we have this building, the building is not the place necessarily where God resides. He resides on the inside of us. This is just a building where the churches actually come to this building where we can fellowship together. And that's a beautiful picture. Go ahead and someone read 29, 3 through 5, please.
Moreover, because I have set my affection on the house of my God, I have given to the house of my God, over and above all that I have prepared for the holy house, our own special treasure of gold and silver. 3,000 talents of gold, of the gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of refined silver to overlay the walls of the houses. The gold for the things of gold, and the silver for the things of silver, and all kinds of work to be done by the hands of craftsmen. Who then is willing to consecrate himself this day to the Lord?
David is a giver. He's a leader and a giver by example. This is powerful. Notice he's putting forth all this first. He's putting forth an example. Of course, he is the king, and he has a lot. He's been blessed with a lot, but he's giving a lot. That commentary, David did not ask of his subject what he himself was not willing to do. And I think that should be our example, our leadership in all of our lives. We shouldn't tell someone or our kids, do as I say, not as I do. We should be leading forward. And King David is a wonderful example here. He donated an enormous private gift from his own fortune. That's our concern, my concern about our government now. We've got Senate, Congress, so many people making mega amounts of money, and they're trying to put health care together. It's hard for you. That's a disconnect. They'll never have to worry about health care, and for them to try to put something together for people who need it, that's hard. And because they're not leading by example. They're not going to take Obamacare anyway. They don't care about that. But this whole process here, we see David, he actually connects with this whole experience of building this temple. On the basis of example, he asks for a similar response on their part. To consecrate his service is literally to fill his hand, a technical expression used for induction into the priestly office. Here David asked the assembly who would be as equally devoted as the priest. David just wants to know who's going to carry this, who's going to get on board. And I think that's what we try to teach often. It's more than just coming to a building, but becoming a part. Wanting to be a part of the ministry. I'm always blessed when I see people join, but I'm even more blessed when they plug in and they actually do something. When they take a part in the work, not just sitting, but actually making an investment. We're not talking about necessarily monetarily, but we're talking about physically. You may not have the monies to invest, but you're physically there to build the temple in a sense. And this is what David is encouraging them to do. Look at this next section. Someone read 1 Chronicles 29, 6 and 7, please.
Then the leaders of the father's house, leaders of the tribes of Israel, the captains of thousands and of hundreds, with the officers over the king's work of war. Then they gave for the work of the house of God 5,000 talents, 10,000 darits of gold, then 1,000 talents of silver, 18,000 talents of bronze, and 100,000 talents of iron.
Look at this whole process. When you see someone else really get involved, it becomes infectious. You want to do your best. And you want to follow that example when you see someone else. I mean, sometimes I look at military movies and there's always a leader. And the good leaders don't lead from behind. They lead from out front. They're the first ones that go into the battle. I love Braveheart, where he gets on a horse and he screams at him and beats the chest and then just rides off. He's the first one in the battle. That's what David is doing here. He's that example, and all of a sudden everybody else gets behind him. Sparked by the generosity of the king, the leaders of Israel responded by matching his spirit of giving. And there's been a couple times even here, we've been trying to take on projects and stuff, and I would challenge my leadership. It's like, okay, if we want to do this, I'll do this much. Will anybody else follow me in this? A lot of times they kind of look at me like, we go away. Because it becomes serious when you have to put your money into it. That's when it really comes down to it. It's great to talk about somebody else's money, but when it's affecting you, our decisions often change. So here we find out they're excited, they are caught up. Their willingness is reminiscent of Israel's giving for the tabernacle in Exodus 36, 3-7. This Derrick, the NSB, or drams, were Persian gold coins possibly named for Darius the first, and therefore anachronistic to David's era, but not necessarily to the time of writing by the chronicler. He used the derrick, the current unit of exchange, to evaluate the offering of Israel's leaders. Basically, I wanted to put this because we got a history point to even prove that everything that's written here is true. So we've got the chronicler, the writer of this, inspired by the Holy Spirit, uses the currency of the day, to kind of equate what was going on back then, so that an understanding of the readers, they could actually understand what's going on. It's the same thing that happens when we have some of our newer translations. It'll actually translate the monetary forms to present day's numbers, so we can understand how much it really is. So this is important to know within the scriptures. Look at 1 Chronicles 29, 8 and 9. Someone read, please.
And whoever had precious stones gave them to the treasury of the house of the Lord, into the hand of Jael the Gershonite. Then the people rejoiced, for they had offered willingly, because with their lower heart they had offered willingly to the Lord. And King David also rejoiced greatly.
This is a critical point to giving. True giving is never pressured. And I really believe this from my whole heart. True giving is never pressured. Simply because how can you give if you've been pressured to do it? The whole definition is giving freely. That's the whole word. When I give something, there's no attachment to it. But if I only give because I've been pressured to give out, there's a difference. It's actually would change to a different word. And oftentimes we see that in the places of fellowship where people are compelled. It always irritates me, and I know we've done it, not put down. I know people have done it for different reasons, but they put an assessment. You know, they were going to revival. Ebenezer used to do it for revival time. We put a number. You know, everybody give such and such amount. You know, and that's great if everybody can do that. But what about the people who can't do that, but they try? So now they feel their giving is not as free as it would be someone who was making more money. I understand why they did that. They want to give a challenge, you know, get a certain amount, you know, a building fund type idea. But it's not the same. If you make $200,000 a year and someone else makes $30,000 a year, the giving is a different proportion. So this is the whole problem when it comes to putting pressure on people to give. Free giving is something important. Remember, Jesus talked about that when he came into the temple, and the Pharisees and Sadducees, they were giving big. But then this woman, she gave all she had. All she had. And he said she gave more than all the big givers. Because he wasn't using the monetary picture of the day, but he was thinking about the heart. And that's what it's all about. Now, I agree. You pressure people, you get a whole bunch of money, you can meet your budget. I agree. I totally agree. Churches that are in debt, they pressure the people, they mortgage them out, they're going to get the money. All right? It doesn't matter how that they're going to get the money, but the problem is we go against the spiritual things and we hurt the people's heart. And notice here at this point, in that 29:9, then the people what? When you give right, you rejoice. I am blessed to give. I'm a happy giver because there's no pressure on me. I am happy to be able to give. I am happy to tip my server. And BR can tell you, it blesses me to be able to tip my server, especially a good server. I'm even happier to tip that person a great amount and to just see a smile sometimes. Just to see, like, wow, you tipped me. A thank you. That's a rejoicing when you can come to giving. Cindy.
I went to a service where a minister was being installed into his first church. And the gentleman got up and said when it was offering time, he said he wanted all the pastors to give at least $100. And then he went down from there assessing everybody. Well, the insult came when, before the person that preached the service got up there and said that, don't y'all steal this money from this man. This is his money. And I thought, this is his money. It's not for the beauty funds. It's not for this, that, and other. So, I mean, that just really turned me off.
But there's truth within that. I mean, it's even happened. I've had ministers, I don't have them too much at anyone, they take up their own offering and do all kinds of stuff. I'm like, really? This is not how it's supposed to be done. But when it becomes embraced, there are denominations that have embraced that. People just kind of get used to it. And now it's more of a slavery mentality now. You know, that you can fit in, that you'll be looked at good if you can meet that certain amount. Tony?
In the same vein that she was talking about, my sister told me one time she went to a conference. It was, well, not really a conference, it was actually a Coliseum event. With a big name preacher that everybody likes to preach. She was talking about, you know, they gave a good message and everything, and they got off track. Because when she sat down, then another minister, who was a well-known minister, got up and said, we're gonna take a collection. And he said, the Lord told me that 100 people were gonna give $100. I said, well, what happens? Didn't nobody come down? And so then he started saying, that the man started saying, well, 2 or 3 people to get together and pay $100. And it was just bad because it just wasn't right. You know? And this was one of these big charismatic type preachers that everybody likes that was out there. And he had somebody be a part of that. And she said that was just so embarrassing. And it would look like it was an indictment. I said, well, were they the main person? Said no, the fact that he had somebody else kind of come up and try to do it and try to stop it.
That's called, and I'm letting you know all the secrets, some preachers are brought in to raise an offering.
Yes.
They're literally, they have ability, it's not a gift, but I don't know if it's a move of the devil, but they can raise an offering. And I'm telling you, these guys and ladies are good at what they do. They will make you empty your pocketbook. They will make you give your diamond ring. And before you know it, you are mesmerized. You will leave out there no jewelry, all your money is gone, and you will not come to yourself until you lay down at night and go, what did I just do? It's called fleecing the sheep. That's what they're very good at, fleecing the sheep. So we have to be careful that this is big. Why do you think it happens though? Why is fleecing the sheep accepted?
They're not connected with Jesus Christ.
All right, connected, not connected to the Lord, true. But why else?
Greediness.
Greedy. And what's that connected? Debt. When you're doing a conference, and that conference is like 20,000, 30,000 at the, one of the centers around here, your thought is always, how are we gonna get this money? We gotta pay this. And so what do? You have to budget in, or at least they do, they budget in, how much do we think the congregation is gonna give you? And so there's a point, they got counters, and they can send the buckets around, kind of know real quick how much they're getting. If they're not getting enough, guess what they gotta do? Yeah, because the leader's not gonna pay for that. And so now it's a debt issue. And my heart goes out, and we've laughed a little bit, but we need to pray for the churches that are in debt. They're beautiful, plenty of seating, but there's always this cloud over them. We've got to meet the budget. We've got to meet the budget. And when that cloud is over you, it tends to trickle down and pressure is put on the people. It just happens. There are few ministries that actually walking in faith and believe in God without putting pressure on the members. There are very few that do that. So that's why I'm so against debt. Serena.
And that's a good thing, that we're budget free about a lot of things that are going on. We don't owe anybody anything. But that also could be a curse upon us. Because people come around here sometimes asking for this and this and that. And they don't give nothing back. You see what I'm saying? Now, I don't expect nothing to come back when we help somebody. We never do it. You don't expect nothing. But still, if you're going to come in here just to get, you're in the wrong place. Wrong place. And I don't mind hurting somebody's feelings.
And that's what giving is about. When you are a giver, sometimes you do get hurt, but you're still a giver. And that wouldn't have changed your attitude anyway because you're a giver. Yes, ma'am.
Somewhere
in the Bible, I can't remember, I just recently read it, it said if you give something to someone, don't expect anything back.
Amen.
You know, that's the, and Papi Serrano normally says when he's taking up offering, if it's not from your heart, keep it. We don't want it.
Amen. Because we want people's heart to be blessed. Now, you can't say that in everybody's church. Because the pastor's like, well, if it ain't for your heart, still give it. Because the people have bills to be paid. Look at the second part. For the people rejoice, for they had what? They offered willingly. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Again, not because they had to, they weren't meeting an assessment, they wanted to partake in that. This is the only giving, I think the only true giving, when people want to do it. Not trying to prove themselves, not trying to give more than anybody else. We've had those, you know, all churches have it. Who can bring in the most money? Right? And you go, why does that work? The reason it works, because we got a lot of prideful folks. And I would be one. If you put me in a fundraiser, and if I partook in that, I'm going to try to raise as much money, because I like to win. I do. I like to win. It doesn't matter what you give me. Just let me win. So I'm going to have all kind of Howards give something. I'm going to have my mama give something. I'm going to get everybody. And then I'm going to sneak. I'm going to try to find out who I think is going to give more. And I'm going, how much you giving? So I can make sure we push up. And that's pride. That's not true giving right there. That's all about, hey, I want to get spotlight. And a lot of times we use those things in church. It works. But we miss our blessings. We truly, and that's why you find a cycle. When you get into that rut, you're always trying to get ahead, but you can't get ahead because God's hand is not on it. Notice they offered willingly. Yes, sir, Brother Goins.
And when you do that, it not only gets you off the message, but it gets you down the road.
Yes, you're right. Because people get used to it. I had someone that told me in a church they were called to be a fundraiser. That was their calling to raise funds. I don't know, but it was just interesting, that whole thought pattern. But I knew what they were driven off of: acclaim, prestige. That person always won. It's hard. You always want to do that. Yes, sir.
And you know, that's why in Ebenezer we don't do fundraisers. He's the one that stopped it. I was happy when it happened. We don't need nobody going out there selling fish, bananas, or whatever the one out there. You know, just give it. Give out of the pocket. That's where the love.
I must say, at that time, it was more of a logical thing. I saw Ebenezer sweating so much with fish, so I had to prove a point. So I was like, I added up the time that they cooked fish and what they brought in and what they made off the fish and the deliveries and the fish they dropped. And I showed them the numbers, and they was like, forget it, we won't do it no more. I said, you would actually come out better just giving the fish away. Really, that was my challenge. Just give it away. Because more people were giving money to us, extra money, just because we had the fish, than the people who were actually charging for it. So that God proved the point, I'll bless you if you just give it away. So this whole process here, they give willingly, because with what? A loyal heart, they offered willingly to the Lord. They were connected to the business of the Lord, giving from their heart to the business of the Lord. And King David also rejoiced greatly. It's great to see it. I have been blessed here. We've had some projects, and we just asked people to give, and we always met it. It was just, some that I didn't even buy into it, Ebenezer still gave, and they gave with a loving and kind heart. Deacon Lenny can tell you, there were times when first we used debt, and Ebenezer paid it off in, a fourth of the time. It was just, we pushed, Ebenezer gave, and they gave with a willing and loving heart. God provided. There were times where, you remember we went through the down spiral, people were laid off, and we were kind of going through a depression time. That's what it felt like. Guess what? God blessed Ebenezer. People still gave. And we see that willing heart, very important. Yes, ma'am.
Our giving is a form of our worship. And so I was listening to a minister today from home, and he was talking about how we tend to go into our prayer time just asking and not worshiping. And how when we worship, we realize how big our God is, so our prayer time becomes less burdensome, because first we've acknowledged how big God is and how able He is to answer the things that we're asking for. And I just thought, as we're reading this, this is the same thing. We should be giving, and it should be a form of worship, and it should bring joy, because we should be giving before we're asking to be given to.
Right. And the primary, if you ever feel bad about your giving, slow it down. Really, if you feel bad, if you feel like just pressure, just slow it down. You just get a sick feeling. I always get a sick feeling when they take up an offering, the guy or girl comes back and goes, well, we got $40. Can we make it 41? Oh, that irritates me. That irritates me because I know they had $1 in their pocket. They could have just put it in there. So I know it's bigger than what they're saying. That irritates. That's just, ugh. But if you ever feel that, slow down and pray, because there's usually a bigger issue that's going on. Yes, ma'am.
Pastor, I think I told you a while ago, Doug and I went to a church down where our grandparents and parents lived. This lady locked us in that church until they raised a certain amount of money. I was so not Christian. Oh my goodness, I just couldn't believe they had people at each door. Really? I told husband, I said, baby, you gotta get me out of here. You do.
Wow.
Yeah, they wanted to, after they locked the doors, I couldn't even remember what they were raising money for.
And it happens. It's not in the church. There are other places that will nag you for money over and over again. I was given to a ministry on radio or something like that, and I was really touched by the message, going to give something, and they go, first thing, hello, we're so glad you're going to give. Would you like to be our $20 donor? I just said I was just going to give. Okay. Well, if you give $20 a month for such and such, you will be blessed. Or you can be our gold donor. Wow, that's me. And they get you, they hook you. And so now my heart of free giving is turned to a repulsion, because now you're trying to hook me for more, and you're going to send me a free book that I didn't even want. Now you're tying my giving, my free offering, to other stuff. And that becomes problematic. Look at this next part. Did I get everybody's hand? Look at 1 Chronicles 29, 10 and 11. Someone read, please.
Therefore David blessed the Lord before all the assembly. And David said, Blessed are you, Lord God of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. Yours, O Lord, is the greatness, the power, and the glory, the victory and the majesty. For all that is in heaven and in earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head over all.
No, this is bigger than the money. It's about the temple that will be built, and it's about exaltation of God. It's just about all of His glory. And so now that people realize, you know what? Everything that we have is God's anyway. So we're just giving a portion of what He's already given us. So it makes giving even more fluid. It blesses God even more, in a sense, simply because we recognize that He's God and God alone. Look at 29, 12, and 13. Someone read, please.
See, I'll do that like that.
Oh, victory and honor come from you, and you reign over all. In your hand is power and might. In your hand it is to make great and give strength to all. Go to the next one. Now therefore, our God, we thank you and praise your glorious name.
We talked about this, but I want you to show you in Scripture, David understand something very significant that we need to recognize. Both riches and honor come from God. You gotta get this. It'll make your life so much easier, because now you're not chasing after the dollar. You're putting God first, and you're watching Him provide. I'm just amazed. I was thinking about Bianca being able to be home for so many years and how God's provided over that time. It's just been God, really. I am humbled, just a heart of humility, and I praise Him for what He's done. And all of our kids, our 5 kids, college and provisions, all of those things, it's all I give God. All the glory, honor, because we're just not that smart. We're really not that smart. We should be borrowing money from Mother Coram and Cinda and Catherine Jones Brooks. And I mean, really, we really should. But God has been good. He's provided because we found something, both riches and honor. When we try to give our own honor, it just doesn't last. But when God gives you honor, nobody can take that away. Come from you, and you reign over all. You give strength to all, and we got to realize that even going to our jobs. Remember Philippians 2:14 has been my scripture. Don't complain about anything. That's basically what it says. If you got a job, you can go to it, stop complaining. Because if you got strength enough to get to your job, to make it through the day, there are a lot of people that can't even get to a job. I know people that are part of Ebenezer, they're so sick, they can't even hold a job. They would love to hold a job, but they're so sick, they're applying for disability because they can't even make it through a day. Man, I'm excited to be able to do things because I know God gives me the strength. Look at this next part, 1 Chronicles 29:14.
But who am I and who are my people that we should be able to offer so willingly as this? For all things come from you, and of your own we have given you.
This particular scripture, what's coming out of the scripture? What is David saying? What's David saying?
I think it shows a spirit of humility before God.
Yes. He's like, yeah, we've given a lot, but who are we? Why should we even have the sense to even want to give? And that should really just bring us down to a sweet, sweet spirit before God to realize the fact that we're connected with Him and that we have an opportunity to give in something that's bigger than ourselves. Man, that's a blessing. That's a blessing, Angela.
That's the doxology that we oftentimes say.
Yes, this is a doxology. And oftentimes we sing that.
Some churches sing it at the wrong time.
You're right. Actually, we used to do it here at Ebenezer. And the reason we don't is not anything bad with it. It's just, it was a prayer. We were doing a double prayer. That doc said, all things come of thee, O Lord, is actually a prayer within its own self. And so that's why we stopped it in a sense, because we had people already praying over the offering. So this whole process that we should be able to offer so willingly as this. So now there's another part in our giving when you have enough to give. That's a blessing. You ever thought about that? Because it could be, there are a lot of people just don't have it to give. For whatever reason, debt, bills, life, they just don't have it. The fact that you have it to give is wonderful. It's a blessing. We've seen pressure with people even giving in the church. If you're in this, not picking on you, it happens to people, but they write checks and the checks bounce because of whatever reason. They didn't do proper accounting or just kind of slipped through, or sometimes there's pressure that you put on yourself to give, but we must realize this whole process, God provides, and He gives us opportunity to reach in.
That's why I feel like we should be thankful we're able to help others. We don't know exactly what they're going through.
Amen.
We see the outside, and some people, they really don't have it. They don't, and like you said, well, they're not able to work for. I count that a blessing to be able to work for.
Amen.
And be able to help somebody else.
So true. Yes, sir.
Pastor, sometimes you get the money and everything falls into the basket and everything. Sometimes you go back in the finance room and we looking at there's nothing inside an envelope. I don't get sick and tired about seeing something like that. It's somebody that wants to give, but cannot.
Right. You're right. Or just, you ever felt the basket come around and it's giving time and you forgot your money? It can be pressure with that. Now, Sister Faith said just let it come out. But sometimes you're like, I want that person looking at me right now. And when you're really giving, sometimes we have to be careful. We have to examine ourselves when maybe you got a 20. And so when you got a 20, you think change. Or if you're going to get that whole 20, watch your hand sometime. If you don't put it in an envelope, some people are kind of flashing. Subconscious, conscious, because you want to show that a dollar bill, nobody wants to show a dollar bill. You kind of crumble it up in your hand. But you got a 20, boy, you like, you smiling when you give it. Because you're like, oh, that's a big giver there. Got to be careful. Giving freely, we're not looking for applause from someone, so we have to even examine our motives as we give. Yes, ma'am.
Freely giving is Brother Robert and Sister Evelyn. I mean, they are just happy to be giving, you know? I just love to see them come around dancing.
Amen. That process of giving.
Yes.
We all should be dancing.
We should. But we got to dance all the time.
All the time.
So when they pay their bills. All the quarter. Dancing. But anyway, let's move on. Y'all know how I am. Someone read that commentary, please. The offering.
The offering was given to Jehiel, a guardian of the treasure, for safekeeping. Overwhelmed by the willingness of the people to give, David spontaneously lifted a prayer of blessing and thanksgiving to God. Jehovah is addressed as a sovereign God who is the source of all blessings. The understanding of David needs to be that of every believer. All things come of thee. All that David or anyone ever gives to God is merely returning him what was originally his.
Isn't that powerful? It was God's anyway. Which puts another level of responsibility. How are you using God's money? Right? Because if it's from God, God gave it to you, then how am I using God's money? And so that whole process, again, we have to examine ourselves. Brother Robert, tell me.
Pastor, something happened before at the church that I used to go before. That I gave a tithe, I wrote a check for my tithe. And I don't know what happened. Most probably I made some payment somewhere, and when the check went, it bounced. So when it bounced, the church wrote me a letter to warn me not to do that anymore. And to be honest with you, Pastor, I felt really, really sorry that thing happened on me. Because as far as I know that everything was okay for that money to go through. But I don't know exactly what really happened. But what I did was that I went back and wrote a check and wrote an apology letter and added it and sent it over to the church office. I mean, I just want to say this to understand that. I mean, if you really understand what is meant by giving willingly, there are things that you don't expect to happen on your way, like what happened to me. It has made me learn a whole lot out of that. And since ever then, I think it has given me an insight of how some churches take giving to a different level. And then some churches do take it to, because I saw a different contrast between where I was and this church. It's two different things altogether. And I'm so thankful to God that I'm a church where you can give, but give willingly from your heart.
Amen.
That is just what I want to make.
And I applaud our elders, our leaders here. You know, people have done that. It's not, we understand mistakes happen. They gently go back. They're not asking for more out of that. They want the people to know, hey, this happened to you. And you kind of do what you need to do, but you need to know for your own record keeping. That's a blessing because there's not any pressure. We don't have any pressure with that whole process, and we recognize that. But that comes with free giving. Again, when you got a budget to meet, and people give you a bad check, you're going to get upset because that's going to put you behind on your $20,000 that you got to pay that buck. And so that whole process changes when, okay, God, you are a provider. We thank you. Now we can love and we can embrace people. And we've seen tremendous things. We've seen people contact us. They realize they made a mistake. They contact us. They call me as Pastor, I am so sorry. I said, it's okay. It's okay. Contact such and such. It'll be worked out. And they're like, what? I guess they were expecting a spanking or something. I don't know. It's like, it's cool. You know, mistakes happen. And you can tell the pressure. They just were like, you gonna kick me out of church? No, mistakes happen. It's okay. You do what you need to do. And that comes with free giving. That's that process. Tony.
We had somebody do that. We got hired. They gave us a bad check. It cost me because then you had to pay to put the money back in to cover the check, and you got a fee.
Yeah, you're right. We do that, but God has just blessed us talented.
I
comes from if you're in God's will in the first place. So if you're working super hard because you're in a place that God didn't want you to be, and you're struggling because you decided to do things that God didn't want you to do, it's going to be super hard for you to give, whether you have the money or not, because it comes more, I work super hard for this stuff. So, you know, this ain't God's or whatever. But when you realize what God has blessed you with, when He starts opening doors, you're like, you know what? This was God's anyway, this says. So it doesn't even matter. We can give because God has already given so much.
Amen. Surround the deacon.
When I ran into a situation like that in the finance room, most of the trustees we try to get, talk to that person in private. And if he can't do it at the same time, sometimes we went to our own pockets and took care of that because, we don't want no heartache on them. And, I know they go through rough times, so, a bunch of us used to do that all the time.
Amen.
But that made me feel, not only it made me feel good, but it made me feel that God has given me the strength to do something like that.
Amen. Willing. Deacon.
Yeah, I had that experience one time, but when I first got married about 2 years, I got a insufficient fund. And one more day I was feeling sorry for myself. And when I was blowing somebody else, I brought the backyard right there. We live on Ross Avenue, across from the church. And I saw that and going across there and I picked it up insufficient funds. Well, I'm not the only one. Over the years, I was trying to strive to be happy now and then when things go well, when things go wrong.
Amen. That's good. Did I get all the hands?
That's why Jesus loved it.
All right, let's go ahead and read this next one. 29:15. Someone read, please.
We are aliens and pilgrims before you, as well all our fathers. Our days on earth are as a shadow and without hope.
Now, we're rejoicing actually now, but this is the reality. You learn how to rejoice when you embrace the reality of life. David, understand, David's getting old too. All right, so we're getting very close to him going to be with the Lord. So this whole process, he says, we are what? What does this mean? I want to make sure you understand this. We don't belong here. We're just visitors. We're ambassadors. And this is key because some of us, we have made this place our home. We're like, we're going to dig it in. Nobody ain't going to take us off of this. Guess what? One way or the other, you got to leave. You are pilgrims. You are just aliens passing through. It's not your home. So don't dig in too tight because we transition. David recognized that. He says, we're like our fathers. Our days on earth are as what? A shadow. A shadow. Remember a couple Sundays ago? Tomorrow. Sneaks in his petty pace from day to day, from the end of recorded time. All of our yesterdays are lighted fools. And this whole process that life is so quick. Anybody recognize that?
Oh, yeah.
It does. I mean, I think Deacon Lenny's the oldest one in here, 81 years old. 81, and I look at him, I'm just amazed. Every time you walk in the room and he can still talk and walk, I'm like, I look at him, he can think, 81, it gives me hope.
Yes.
Now some of y'all 45 and falling apart. How you looking? But it's a blessing. But even he understands, I mean, how many more years can he get? 20, 40, another 80? He'd be the oldest person ever recorded, 160, at least in our generation, in our time. We recognize that. And when you start doubling, you should double your number sometime. It was easy to do when I was 15. I was like 30. You know, and some of you, your parents have passed away. Now you're like, oh Lord. As long as your parents are alive, you're like, I'm good. But reality comes in. You started, life is just a shadow. But David rejoices because he's connected with the life giver. Very important. Did I get any hands? Look at this next part. Someone read 29:16.
O Lord our God, all this abundance that we have prepared to build you a house for your holy name is from your hand and is all your own.
You hear it? He reiterates the same thing over and over. The stuff we're giving you, you provided for us. You gave it to us so we can give back to you. This is kind of a cyclic type of thing. Everything is connected together. And when you embrace that, okay, God, you bless me so I can give. You bless me so I can give. Lord, I always want to give you the glory, the same thing. Oh, Lord our God, all this abundance that we have prepared to build you a house for your holy name is from your hand. You gave it to us, and we just give back. What a beautiful picture. 1 Chronicles 29:17.
I know also, my God, that you test the heart and have pleasure in upright. As for me, in the righteousness of my heart, I have willingly offered all these things. And now with joy I have seen your people who are present here to offer willingly to you.
Very key points again. I know also, my God, that you what? Test the heart. It's, you know, some of you are going through some treatments and they test your cholesterol. They're going to give you positives or numbers. I had to go to the urgent care of one of my kids, and they had to do these tests. They want to make sure such and such is in place, or all of these things that are there. They test you. Well, God tests your heart of giving. He can tell you if it's a positive give or a negative give. Because he looks at the heart. David recognized about the heart, and he said, you have pleasure in uprightness. You found that my heart is not about people celebrating me, but I'm just giving because of you, God. You know that's righteousness. That's what that uprightness means. As for me, in the uprightness or the righteousness of my heart, I have willingly, again, over and over again, you see this all through the scriptures, willingly offered all these things. And now with what? Joy. Okay, because I gave freely. Now with joy, I've seen your people. They've done the same thing, who are present here, offer willingly to you. Because I gave freely, they were able to give freely. It's a cyclic thing. Free giving begets free giving. Because it becomes contagious. That whole process. 29:18 and 19, someone read please.
O Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, our fathers, keep this forever in the intent of the thoughts of the heart of the people, and fix their heart toward you. And give my son Solomon a loyal heart to keep your commandments and your testimonies and your statutes, to do all these things and to build the temple for which I have made provision.
All right, so we kind of forgot about Solomon. Solomon's being inaugurated. He's put in kingship to carry on this project. David's not going to get the bill. So Solomon is brought into this prayer. This is actually a prayer that David is going, and it's rejoicing all at the same time. We are strangers, sojourners. Israel was dependent upon the care and protection of God, just as an alien is dependent upon the goodwill of the ruler of the land in which he finds himself. David knew that the true measure of Israel's giving was not the amount they gave. Listen, was not the amount they gave, but the willingness with which they gave. Find you a point where you can willingly give, and it's not a pressure point. All right, that's the key. Where God is speaking to you, purposing in your hearts. We have it up on the screen just about every Sunday. Purpose in your heart, because now you're free giving. There's a willingness to go from there, and now it's not about the number. It's about, okay, this is where I have peace at. This is where God is telling me. Keep this forever in the imagination of the heart. David prayed that his people might never lose the generosity and devotion they now exhibited. I pray that for all of us, that we be generous people, not just monetarily, but just free around people, hug, embrace, talk. Generosity can come and talk, and just taking time for folks. Our society is just so busy. You know, to take time is money. That's giving of your time to someone else. Don't miss out on those opportunities to give. Very important. Look at this final verse of the day, 1 Chronicles 29:20. Someone read, please.
Then David said to all the assembly, now bless the Lord your God. So all the assembly blessed the Lord God of their fathers and bowed their heads and prostrated themselves before the Lord.
Now notice, it's already been built up. They've already given. They're already in a attitude of rejoicing and exciting. So now he says they're already there. Bless the Lord. All right, bless him simply because you know he's your provider. You know he enabled you to be able to give freely. Now you're rejoicing. Closing his prayer, David asked the assembly to bless the Lord our God. The word bless, or barak in Hebrew, originally meant to bend the knee. All right, so blessing, they would bow down, and we miss out. I don't think I'm gonna make you do that, but we do need to bow down. Bow down before the Lord. I'm always blessed. Some of our Methodist churches, they become sophisticated, but they have little benches that come out, and you can actually kneel. They call it kneeling right there at the thing. I think that is so cool that you can bow down before the Lord. This is what it meant. Bless the Lord. They would bow down. Therefore, Israel did homage. They worship the Lord, King, worship, rashak. It says to literally prostrate oneself. I know people have issues, but you really need to, every now and then, get down before the Lord. It's my practice every day to get on my knees. I want to get on my knees every day if the Lord allows. But we need to get on our knees, and sometimes we need to lay before the Lord. I ain't say sleep before the Lord, but just lay like I do that every day. I say my prayers and lay down in the bed. I prostrate myself before the Lord. No, just taking time, spreading out. And what you're saying is, God, you are everything. I'm bowing down before you. I'm getting as low as I can go to recognize who you are. That's that prostrating. He said, bless the Lord now. Israel did not worship her king, but did obeisance to God and the king. So it was past worship. It was another. They said, God, you are everything. And they all bowed down. Oh, what a beautiful picture. If we could have in a spirit, if we just bow. You come to a church, when everybody's bowed down, you need to watch out. Because there's some power in the place. There was a hand. Yes, sir.
I can remember when we were growing up in church, we used to have the deacons to pray. They would always go to that bench on the left-hand side, and they would always bow down at the bench. And that's the way it used to work.
Amen. And we need that. I'm not putting our deacons down, but that bowing down to pray. And it was amazing. I was in those churches. They didn't have microphone systems, but you could still hear them with their mouth to the pew praying. That was just amazing to me. But they would, bowing down before the Lord. And I think we need to have more of that. There was a hand. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you were just mentioning that, and you always ask how many times we talk with my sisters and brothers, which is lots of times. And she had just sent something before we got here. It says how you build your relationship with God. Find a scheduled place in a closet, bathroom, pantry, or anywhere. Lay down on your face. Start off by thanking and praising Him for what He's already done, the stuff that you've never thanked Him for before. Slightly sight, the ability to walk, the ability to hear, and protection wherever. Then ask Him to fill you, bring you closer to Him without negative situations, but because you are genuinely seeking Him. After that, then ask Him for what you want or what you need, and then thank Him for it. Do this just before you do anything else in the morning or before you go to sleep at night.
Amen. Putting God first, Brother Rob.
Last Sunday, there was a gentleman who came to actually said a few words to the whole church when the church was about living. And one thing that he said that struck me so much was that people might look at him as somebody who does not really know how to pray. He's a truck driver. But one thing that he does is that every once in a while, he go on his knees.
Amen.
That means a whole lot. Because going on the knee means that he just wants to let God know that he should just put him aside.
Amen.
And just do something in his life very different. So kneeling down to pray to God is something very significant. If you have the opportunity to do it, just do it. It's so refreshing.
You're right.
You see that your connection with God is much more. You will feel the presence of God much more on you. Amen?
So much impact, and I don't want to lift up my mom in a way that she's going to get embarrassed, but some of the greatest impact that I've heard when I was growing up, I would go to my parents' room, the door would be kind of cracked, and I would look in, my mom would be on her knees. I was like, wow. I left her alone. When she was on her knees, I ain't mess with her. And when she wasn't on her knees, I would talk back here and there. But when mom was on her knees, that was her God. I'm leaving her alone. And that's had a great impact. Because I know she was praying for me. She was praying for so many things in life. Did I get all the hands? Yes, ma'am. Mother May.
God's word teaches us that every knee bow, every tongue confess.
Amen.
Jesus Christ is Lord.
Amen. Every knee bow and every tongue confess. we see that whole process. As we close out tonight, I want you to mark your calendars for the second Monday in August. We're gonna be at Locust Grove. So this class, we're just gonna transfer it over to Locust Grove. One night revival will be over there. So Locust Grove, if you can, just wanted you to plan ahead, because we got a few Mondays between, because we got a fifth Sunday. So it's gonna seem like a long time. It's gonna sneak up on you. That's why I want you to know. Amen? Come on to your feet, let's close out.